There's the Lieutenant Governor. Welcome everybody. It is Business Monday. Welcome to the Small Biz section. I'm Josh Fenton, CEO of GoLocal. We're at the Navigant Credit Union Broadcast Center. Next to me is entrepreneur, inventor, a little bit of Q wrapped into him, Joe Jensen from NVTS. NVTS is the acronym for Night Vision Technology Solutions.
Yes. It's a mouthful.
Could it be a cooler name? I mean, who doesn't want night vision technology embedded in their on their head, right?
It is cool, but you know, it's been an interesting business, and we've been around, located in Jamestown, Rhode Island.
Always known as a hotbed for emerging technology.
That's right. We're
companies.
a hotbed of emerging technologies, tucked away in Jamestown, Rhode Island, and we have our lab and engineering facility there. We've been around in Jamestown since 2014. We're a manufacturer of electro-optic infrared camera systems. So thermal and visible camera systems that go on platforms like shipboard and also land mobile vehicles and for border surveillance also.
So when we're watching the movie on Netflix of the attempt to get bin Laden, and they've all got night vision technology, is that your kind of technology?
Yes, we have.
I don't want you to disclose any top secret disclosures, but
it's not our technology.
Yeah.
We aggregate some of the existing technology that's out there. So night vision comes in a couple of forms. One form is image intensification. That's the light amplification.
Kind of green look.
That's the green. It goes through a phosphorus filter, and that's where you get the green look. And that amplifies starlight or any existing light for nighttime operations. Then there's thermal vision, which just looks at the heat signature. It doesn't care whether it's day or night, and we'll just pick up a thermal image. And there's different grades of that thermal image. It can go out to as far as 30 kilometers.
30 kilometers?
And then some for longer range applications. Or it's a short range, as we have a handheld scope for an outdoor enthusiast or a mariner just looking for better vision at night. And so that's the class. And there's one called SWIR, which is shortwave, which basically looks at reflective light. Now that's more of a higher end application.
And what would be the usage for that?
It has certain advantages, mostly in the military, where it's able to see like a laser designator, and you'd be able to tell it was a friend or foe.
Gotcha. So you're really at some critical high-end technology. Let's talk about, without disclosing anything, I don't want to be, picked up by the NSA later today for disclosing any secrets, but you're supplying the United States military in many situations, Marines, Special Forces, Navy, etc.
Yes, we are. Our customers range from the United States Navy. We've done some work with the Army. We've done work with General Dynamics, Raytheon. We've outfitted partial Greek Coast Guard. We were in there when a lot of the refugees were 5,000 a day were coming in, and we were putting on stabilized camera systems for their ships to help and assist in that effort. To border security for the Vietnam Border Guard.
For Vietnam Border Guards?
Yeah. So they came to us for some thermal and visible camera binoculars that had a laser rangefinder in it, and so to assist them in their mobile patrols. So we've done projects like that. We've also advanced in our technology to where we've been delivering products into the unmanned surface vehicle.
Oh, wow.
So that could range from an unmanned ship that's at sea, that's totally autonomous. That project was funded by DARPA.
Yeah.
And to an unmanned vehicle that might do some forward reconnaissance.
Is your technology used on drones at all?
Yes.
Yeah.
For aviation drones, yes.
Yeah.
It is. We particularly aren't in that space.
Yeah.
We're surface right now. We're entertaining moving into the aviation, but right now our primary focus is land and shipboard applications.
And you're a veteran.
Yes, I'm a veteran of the United States Coast Guard.
And when did you found the company, and what was the motivation for it?
Well, I founded it actually with two other partners originally in 2009, and we kind of evolved the business. We were, at one point I was representing a company that was in night vision, and found out that they were not going to be able to supply and support the products that we were looking to sell. So for some reason, I said, I think I can do this myself, found two partners.
Why not? Right, sure.
That evolved as I moved the facility and took over the entire business and moved it all to Rhode Island in 2014.
Right.
At that time, we were able to aggregate new technologies and put them together and come up with a full product line.
Welcome to downtown Providence. We've got rescue vehicles racing down the street. How's Rhode Island been for an environment? I think you mentioned before we came on, you've tapped into some smart
I just love Rhode Island.
Yeah.
I've been here since I got out of the Coast Guard in 1980. Was my last day in the Coast Guard, but and last year in the Coast Guard.
Come back on over, by the way.
And I've been here since, and Rhode Island has been very receptive for new businesses, particularly technology businesses. I didn't really know some of the assets that were available up until the fall of last year, actually December of last year, and we took advantage of it. We, as a Department of Commerce funded project called STEP that we was co-sponsored to go to United Arab Emirates. They set us up with a matchmaking services that we saw some 15 appointments in 5 days.
Right.
Very successful. We're working on one in Mexico, and Portugal, and Spain. They help assist us with some technology funding. As you might imagine, the equipment that we procure and engineer and develop, it gets quite expensive, and with Business Development Corporation and Department of Commerce, they assisted us in that. So that was very helpful to secure funding for a project we were working on with the Navy.
Great. And you've launched some consumer products, which sound cool. Yeah. I'm going to look at the site as soon as we get off. It's Prime Day, so we're all going to be in the office flooding over there. We have our Prime membership.
Well, we're getting inquiries on our website for some of our smaller products. We have handhelds and binoculars and some fixed-mounted cameras that have applications outside the military space, whether it's for commercial security or hunting enthusiasts or boaters. We really didn't have a venue to be able to sell it direct.
Right.
So we partnered with Optics Planet, which is one of the largest retailers in this space. And they're currently carrying, I believe, 10 of our products online. And it just launched recently.
That's great. And are you seeing some good activity from it?
We just started, you know, we just started with them, and we hope to see a robust activity, but it was certainly a good start to have a company like them behind us and brought the products online.
And on those 10 products, are there any security issues? You know, do you want the Ukrainians buying it, or the
you bring up a good point. Yeah, right. You bring up a very good point, because the products are export controlled.
Yeah.
So they can't be sold outside the U.S. without a license. And when we do export outside to one of our customers outside the U.S., they have to be approved by the Department of Commerce, or they have to be used by the United States State Department, depending on
the type of product.
And the level of technology. So we have to apply for a license, and that could take a couple of months to get the export license. But for domestic, as long as it stays domestic and they sell it within that arena, then we're okay.
And where are you now in your maturation? You've been involved with the company for about 10 years, taking control of it wholeheartedly over the last 4 or 5. Where do you see the company going? How big is it going to be? Will you be buying up multi-million-dollar homes on Jamestown, tear down for your own expansion? Is it?
No, we love working in Rhode Island, so we're going to continue to stay there. This is my home. My family's here. We want to continue to work with local Rhode Island vendors where we can. And we want to build the company, and we're trying to build our engineering capabilities and our internal IP. But we'd like to be a significant player in this space.
How tough is it on a day like today to go to work on Jamestown versus to get diverted to any number of other places on the island that could be a little tempting on a 85-degree, 90% humidity kind of day?
I'm always an advocate of saying, I say live and work where you like to vacation. So that makes for a better, happier workspace. So I'm a big advocate of that. So I feel really fortunate that we were able to secure a space in Jamestown that suited our engineering and what we do, and also being able to work in a beautiful area in the state, as most of Rhode Island is.
Working with Commerce went well. They've helped you in a number of ways. Do you have any suggestions to the kind of the business community in Rhode Island? What could be better? How can we make it a better place to do business? We're in a different industry. We're in the news business. Rhode Island's a great place. There's always some chaotic news. We love it. There's no shortage. We wouldn't move anywhere else. Talk a little bit about some of the opportunities and some of the challenges for working in Rhode Island.
I can only speak from our experience, and our experience has been very good. One thing about Rhode Island, you know everybody. You're the only state in the country that you can know both your senators and both your congressmen and have coffee with them or bump into them sailing, one of the two. So there's no other place, no other state that has that. Plus, we're a friendly community. I found that working with Commerce, their outreach was great, their follow-up was great. As a business owner and as many business owners, you have a lot of hats on, and it's hard to sit down and do the business side of it.
Right.
And when I did do that, I had a lot of helpers, and they were eager to help. They couldn't be more accommodating, and couldn't say that for any other state in Rhode Island, and I find they're a tremendous asset, and I haven't even begun to really tap into everything that was available. We're just still learning ourselves, but the programs that we did take advantage of have been successful, and they're still progressing.
That's great. Joe Jansen, great having you on. Congratulations
Thank you
on the
very much
success. You've definitely got the coolest technology of anybody who's been on, certainly with me. So I'm excited to learn more, and going to go racing to deposit some money to Jeff Bezos or somebody like that. Poor guy, right? There's only 100 million Prime members. If we can only all have that problem, right? The poor guy. Thanks so much for coming on. We'll be right back in about 2 minutes with, I think we're discussing chocolate. I think that's what I've heard. And we'll be right. Yeah, that's right. Well, you should have brought night glasses. Maybe you could have traded off some samples. We'll be right back in just a minute here at the Navigant Credit Union Broadcast Center. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Josh Fenton. Welcome back to the Navigant Credit Union Broadcast Center. It is Small Biz on a Monday here in sweltering Providence, Rhode Island. With me is Paula Charlson. She is the guru behind Cocoa Fuel.
Hi, how are you?
I'm
Thank
good.
you so much for having me.
Yeah,
Really
great to see you. Talk a little bit about cool product, cool design, cool everything.
So thank you. I appreciate that. My product is a healthy chocolate.
Yeah.
So I decided about 5 years ago I'm a chocoholic, but I can't eat chocolate every day. So I decided to create a healthy recipe for me, my family, and my friends. So that's basically how it started. But everybody said you should sell it. This is a great product. So here I am 5 years later, and yeah, it's been a bit of a whirlwind.
And you've got nice distribution. You're in Whole Foods around
Yes.
New England and
Yes.
in Chicago.
No, well, there's a couple of stores in Chicago,
Yeah, great.
but my first store was Whole Foods in Cranston,
Great.
and they were extremely receptive to the product, and I figured that was my clientele, that was my target market, so I decided, let me bring it to them. If they like it, then maybe I have something here. So they loved it, and I've been in Whole Foods for about 5 years now, and it has expanded into the territory, so I'm excited about that.
And what's been the biggest challenges in building the company?
So,
Besides, with any small business, everything.
yeah, well, chocolate's a little bit unique. So when I first started, I was making it by hand for a couple of years. But as you can imagine, I could only do small batch. I could only do a little bit at a time. And you're not really going to get very far by doing a few hundred bars. So after testing the market for a good year and a half, I would do a lot of demos at Whole Foods. And again, after testing the market, I decided it was time to start looking at co-packers and another way to get this done on a bigger scale. So I'm actually very lucky. My co-packer is Hauser's Chocolate in Westerly.
Great.
It's very difficult to find a co-packer that does bars.
Yeah.
So I'm lucky to be working with Rudy Hauser. The biggest challenge there, when you talk about challenge, was the transition. So the making of the chocolate was not a problem. The big issue was the machines. Because this is a healthy chocolate. It's sweetened with honey. It has a lot of cocoa butter, which makes it a very moist product. So the machines didn't like the product. It took us the better part of about a year and a half for them to retool the machines for the chocolate to sort of get, come through without being stuck. So that was the biggest challenge. And so, so it created sales setbacks and everything else. But we've kind of made it through there, and so now we're basically focusing on sales again.
Great.
We just did the Rhode Island Good Food Mercantile, which was wonderful. It was a venture with Rhody Relish.
Yeah.
And so a couple of nice stores in New York, Zabar's, a couple of other stores, and some that we're in negotiations with. So we're looking forward to expanding quite a bit in New York at this point.
Do you see your product as more of a grocery store product or a specialty shop, kind of cheese wine kind of venue? Or?
It's interesting because Cocoa Fuel has been in grocery stores, wine and cheese.
Yeah.
It's in Olive del Mundo on the east side.
Yeah.
It's in Café La France in Providence as a grab and go.
Yeah.
It's at the Pantry, Nick Raybar's place.
Yeah.
It's been in yoga studios, gyms. My buyer at Whole Foods keeps saying that I need to go to this gym because everybody there keeps buying it. So it's just the good thing about this bar, it very, very easily can be in a lot of different places.
That's right.
And the reason why I started the company was because, again, I was eating a lot of chocolate, and I was able to get this recipe so that the chocolate only has 6 grams of sugar, from most of it from honey in the entire bar.
That's great.
So the purpose of the bar is to get people off of junk chocolate and candy, and let them enjoy that little piece of chocolate at night without setting off a sugar addiction.
Are you selling any online yet?
I've been selling online since the beginning.
Yeah, and how's that going?
Great. I have some loyal customers from Dallas to LA to New York to Atlanta.
It is amazing how
Bristol.
people get so.
Yeah.
I did in my previous life branding with Annie's Macaroni and Cheese, and they discontinued a pizza brand. And a woman called up and said, I don't know how old her son was. He was like 4 or 5 years old, and said, "You have to send me any remaining cases because he eats nothing but Annie's pizza
Right.
brand macaroni and cheese
Yeah.
for the last 2 years."
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
how's that working out?
Yeah,
But,
no, I have my addicts.
yeah.
I have my, this is all they want to eat. And,
That's great.
some of them order every single month, and they're ordering, 48 or 60 bars a month, and it works out.
Where's it headquartered?
Cranston.
Yeah. And where do you see it, where do you see it in the near future and the long term?
So the goal is to get to the Fancy Food Show
Yeah.
and the East-West Expo. I'd like to expand out west. I think it's a perfect product for the West Coast.
Yeah.
It's done really well in New England and the East Coast, but I do feel like it's also a good fit for the West Coast. So I'm looking forward to doing the Fancy Food Show, possibly San Francisco this year, or if not, then I'll do New York.
Right.
Next year. So that's the big thing. Getting to the big food shows, the important food shows, is what's going to help launch my product.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
And I have to say, I had not heard of it. And I always say, when I haven't heard of something, because, we've done 100,000 articles over the last 8 years, not a lot of things we haven't heard about. How do we tell more Rhode Islanders?
So, again, that also becomes the challenge.
Yeah.
How do you, being at farmers markets is
Yeah.
a great way to showcase a product. The issue with cocoa fuel, it melts.
Yeah, right.
So you really can't have chocolate in the summertime outside. So that becomes an issue.
The Quonset Air Show is not a great
Yeah,
venue for it.
yeah,
Folk Festival, not a great one.
And I tried.
Yeah,
I tried in the
I'm
beginning,
sure.
and I put it on ice. I did everything, and it just didn't work. So,
We'll focus on the winter outdoor
yeah,
events.
yeah. So,
how is it working with commerce? What's been the environment in Rhode Island? The good, the bad, the ugly. What's been the challenges?
The good news is I have incredible customer support
Yeah.
in Rhode Island.
Yeah.
The customers are loyal in the whole east coast of Whole Foods, and it's from West Hartford to Portland.
Yeah.
#1 store is Cranston. And so the support locally has been incredible. Working with Commerce RI was really a good thing. I worked with Buck Harris from the CIC, and he was
Yeah.
sort of my advocate and helped me with everything that I needed to do. So, and it was a pretty simple, once you have your financials together, it's a pretty simple, smooth process.
Great.
So they were wonderful to work with. I'm looking forward to working more with Rhody Relish,
Yeah.
which is a new concept. And for us food people, distribution becomes an issue. Getting the word
Yeah.
out becomes an issue. How do we bring all of that together? And I think that's what Rhody Relish is trying to do,
Yeah.
which is a good thing. But yeah, so like we say, a lot of Rhode Island organizations work in silos. Like maybe if we all talk to each other,
Yeah, no, absolutely.
we can make some other things happen.
Well, that's great. Biggest challenge right now?
The biggest challenge is always sales.
Yeah.
I just want more sales.
Right.
I can do as much production as needed.
Yeah.
And then at that point, I'm always talking to distributors.
Mm-hmm.
I self-distribute, but I'm always talking to distributors. And, when I talk to other people in the food business, they said, you have a nice, easy product to ship.
Yeah.
So you're probably better off just continuing to do what you've got to do until, it expands into other markets.
Great.
So yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you so
This is
much.
super exciting.
Thank you.
Great product, great looking product, really nice. Who did the packaging? Nice.
I did.
Very, very
yeah.
clean,
When
smart.
you're a small business owner, you've got to do the marketing material. You've got to do, I had to come up with a concept. I didn't like what other people were doing.
Right.
I sort of had a vision, and I studied what's the packaging, what's selling with chocolate, and I came up with this in a weekend, and people seem to like it. So.
Yeah, it's great. It's
Yeah.
really smart.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming in. Wraps up today on Small Biz. We'll be back at 4 with Gary Sass, the money man, and appreciate everybody for tuning in. Where's the closest place you can get it? Whole Foods?
Whole Foods
All
on
three?
North Main Street, Waterman, Cafe La France, Sydney. There's a lot of places right here
Great.
locally. I can't believe you haven't seen it.
I have not seen it, but we're going to get the word out now.
Yeah.
Thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll be back at 4 o'clock with Gary Sass.
Thank you.
Thank you.